MightyMai episode 18. Let's go.
Yeah, Space Painter in the house. Yo, I speak some rhymes, I tell the truth. I was in a rap band back in my youth. Was just a dancer, I didn't sing. There were no monies, no bling bling. It's been so long, the path so hard, but here I am, now playing the bard. I found my place, here with the fam, the crypto D-gens and all the rare gang, yeah. Back to the roots, yo. All started with David from known origin. He said, come join us, I have a dream to bring the best art to this platform. So I joined NFTs and kept going on. Make a space next super rare and rareable. Being on ETH too, that's quite remarkable. I'm so grateful I found the crypto space, the ultimate frontier with no gender, age or race, yeah. One more, friends. Yo. We're artists and collectors, we all go together. We're here to stay, forever and ever. You better believe, listen to what I say. I live crypto art every night, every day. In the metaverse or deep in VR, you'll find me smoking only weed, no cigar. You guys supported me when I was still a rookie. Together to the moon, let's share that ETH Cookie, yeah. Haha, sharing that crypto love. Let's go, fam. Hey, you got the cookies?
Yes, Space.
Cool. Ready for departure. Go!
Yes, shout out to Space Painter. Hello, TokenSmart, for the MightyMai show episode 18 already. And we're here tonight with Mai. And yeah, that's crazy. We meet again. We're still here, alive in these crazy times. How are you?
Good. Doing good during these as you said, these crazy times. Market's crashing. Is everybody selling right now? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, definitely some hard
No, we're
days
good,
of
we're good.
manipulations going on. And yeah, that's pretty crazy. But that's a good occasion as well. A lot of things are happening in the music as well, so definitely mind-blowing in every sense, in every way. But yeah, I got my
Dude,
hands on a couple of interesting news this week, but there is so much happening. It's hard to keep up on everything. But yeah, definitely some interesting news tonight.
Yeah, I mean this is like totally random, but I was actually curious, like what is that beat? What was that beat from? Was that a Cipher beat?
Yeah, shout out to Cipher
Was
as well. I forgot, my bad. But yeah,
Oh,
this
no,
comes
no,
from
yeah.
Cipher. It's the first song from Space Painter on Cipher. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because those. I mean, I was like listening. I was like, I'm assuming that's what that was from, but I was actually like, those drums were nice. I was like
Yeah,
surprised.
the beat
Uh,
sounds great.
yeah,
Absolutely.
it sounded super fire.
I love it, and
Um,
I listened to it a lot this week.
um, well, hell yeah. And I know this week we are supposed to have a guest. He has, I'm actually DMing him right now. I'm not a. Oh, he's coming in right now. Never mind. But yeah, plenty to chat about with our guest. But yeah, dude. In the meantime, what else happened with you this week, my man?
Yeah, first I wanted to shout out Skrilla, which will be our guest next week. He's part of the second wave of async music drop, which has been announced this week. The lineup is not fully disclosed, but I know it's very exciting. And so Skrilla is part of it, as well as Pack, you know, and yeah, it's going to be already something big happening. And so yeah, Rela's reached out to me to talk about it here on the MightyMai show. So we'll have a moment to chat together this week. I'm actually very excited because we chatted in DM from many months now, and he's definitely a pioneer in music and NFT space in general. So from 2016 and 17 with minting NFTs on Bitcoin, and so he's here from the very beginning, and now I'm very happy for him that he experienced a piece with async music, and yeah, I'm excited to looking forward to talk to him about his journey and his feeling today.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and this week we wanted to talk with Matthew Chaim from the Songcamp, because we talked about it for an hour last week, and he's done some amazing announcement recently about his upcoming album. Sorry, and yeah. So do you have?
Oh yeah. Matthew is in here. Okay, cool.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I wasn't
cool.
sure when he popped in, but right on. Yeah, lots to chat about. I know we talked about Songcamp last week, just kind of from like basically my perspective, but definitely want to hear more about it from Matthew's perspective, and really just talk about honestly, like I think the success of this experiment, which I know a lot of things are in this space right now. A lot of ideas are basically just viewed as experiments because we are so early still in a lot of ways. But this is one of the most exciting things I was a part of so far in a lot of ways. So yeah, we could definitely talk about that. And then I know that Matthew also has an album coming out on Thursday, I believe. And it's also a bit of an experiment with NFTs and a few other strategies. And that is also just, I mean, yeah, I don't want to,
Yeah, very
I don't want to
interesting.
hype it up too much, but I'm very excited about this. So,
Definitely
but
as
yeah.
well. But yeah, anytime, Matthew, if you're in here, we can start. You can unmute your mic anytime.
Yeah. Yeah, and anytime.
Oh,
If you're free.
your mic is muted.
Oh, is he? Sorry, I'm not looking at the chat. My bad.
Yeah, it seems that Matthew is muted.
Oh, you're suppressed. Hold on, let me see if I can server mute. Oh, there we go. I think I got you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hey guys, how's it going?
What's
Yeah.
up, dude?
Good.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we
Mighty
dude,
My podcast.
dude, the legendary podcast. No, we dude, we did have you on here. Like what? Like probably episode 2 or 3 or what was it? It was very
Well,
early.
no, we
Yeah, a
we
month
were.
ago.
It's so funny because yeah, it was during the camp. It was that day. It was
Yeah.
on 420 when we were high. And then we came here.
Yeah.
We were working on the song for Songcamp, and then you were like, "I need to jump into Mighty My show," and I was like, "Oh, I'll just join." And then you guys kind of had me on. It was like very certain, like spur of the moment thing.
Oh yeah, okay, wow. I mean, I feel like we even had you on like even earlier than that, but that's even more crazy. And I know like the inside scoop on that whole thing is right now is I know you just basically watched like a little bit of the behind the scenes of everything that we just kind of did the past month. And yeah, basically yeah, I actually probably have footage of the podcast as well, but I obviously cut that part out. But yeah, dude.
There's so much footage.
I know, dude. And that's why at the end of
That's
it, I know
great.
nobody really knows the context of what we're talking about right now, but basically, one of the topics that we're going to talk about with Matthew is he ran this song camp, and I'll let you basically talk about it. But I shot a lot of footage of like the whole process of like the behind the scenes, basically from my perspective. Obviously I couldn't put the camera through the computer to everybody else, but but yeah, I basically spent the past couple days like editing it all up, and by the end of like the Songcamp, I actually had ran out of footage. So by the time we got to the end, I actually just had to use like voice memos and shit. But yeah, dude, I'm happy to just basically start wherever you want with Songcamp. I
Yeah.
know a lot of people in here kind of know like the basics of it, but I mean, we could start from the top and just kind of just talk about it all.
Yeah.
Well, I know you guys went in on it last week a bit, so
No,
Definitely, we did. Yeah.
it's okay. You,
um,
yeah, we wanted to talk about it. I'm actually very excited to have you tonight to chat about it again because yeah, we talked about it a lot last week due to the success of the sale and the success of the concept, the splits, the Songcamp mechanism, and the beyond the Songcamp. And all these mechanisms that you brought in on this project, and it was to me the success of all of these different mechanisms beyond the sale, and this has been brilliantly put out all together by you, and we talked about it with Mai several times about how impressive your implication into this project in such a short amount of time to manage to be that successful. All it represents, we know what it represents in terms of energy, thinking, and management with artists and the platforms and the researching at the same time. Taking the opportunity as well on new developments like you did with the splits using Mirror, which is pretty recent and everything. It's all about catching the good vibe at the right time, but I feel like you're very well surrounded and that I like to see how prolific you are in terms of ideas and yeah, putting all this together and already moving on to new experimentations that I think all that inspired you alongside the development of Soundcamp, and that I love to. I went into it this week, and I was really impressed again about these amazing food for thoughts that you bring us, and so I'm very happy to have you tonight and talk about all this. So yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Well, it's awesome to be here, and it is funny because I'm just going back and forth with Mai on like some of that footage that he filmed, I guess, the whole experience from his POV, and now he's been editing down some footage, so he's sending me back some edits. So it's funny to jump in here with kind of a fresh mind of some of the memories that also already feel like memories, even though they're just 2 or 3 weeks ago when we were working on the song and kind of you put together. We'll definitely share some footage of that in the coming days or week or so. Of like he has footage from the first call when we started the camp, all the way through of us making the song, since me and Mai were actually on the same team or band rather, and then all the way to like the actual auction where we were all on a Discord call when we pushed the auction live on Mirror, and like the sales kind of like the reserve bids were met within the first minute for all 3 songs, which was just like in a crazy moment of like electric just energy inside that Discord call that Cody that Mai grabbed, which was just amazing to be able to hear that today. Because it really was like this amazing moment that I wished I'd recorded. I had no idea until today that he had that recording. So it was amazing to hear. But yeah, I mean, a good portion of the people. So we were 13 people total, all artists working on this project. It started early April. I can't even remember anymore. But it started, and then we had 2 weeks basically to create 3 songs, 3 cover artworks, and put them. And then we spent a week after that artwork was finished to actually put together the execution plan for the songs and get them out there. And that's when we used Mirror and Catalog, and they were able to interoperate so that we could auction off 3 catalog NFTs for those songs and the cover artwork on Mirror as reserve auctions, plus hooking into their split feature, which ended up being like a late in the game add-on for us. Like we didn't know that we were going to end up doing that. We weren't sure if it was going to be interoperable in time. But luckily and thankfully, Mirror actually pushed us to do it. Like they really wanted us to, and they ended up getting the support up in time for catalogs metadata. And it ended up being like a big part of the story because we were able to like watch all of our shares of each song go up in real time as bids were coming in, which was a very just empowering feeling for musicians, especially a good portion of the musicians, I would say half, if not more, of those 13 artists had never sold an NFT before. So it was sort of their first experience ever getting a bid and realizing that there were people on the other end who saw value in this stuff. And that was just like an incredible moment that Mai actually captured. So really excited to share that.
Dude, yeah. I mean, it's funny you bring that part up because I know that I fucking like splurged out like a fucking incredibly grateful message about it last night because I was just sitting there listening to it, like editing it, and I'm just like, man, this is so powerful. Like, it really, like, it was just. I mean, it was just incredible to be a part of, and obviously, like in real time. Like, I know I was muted I was muted that entire call. Like, I didn't say a word because I was so like. I mean, you could hear me obviously because it's the recording that you heard is from my end, so you can like hear me freaking out kind of in the background. But it was, dude, it was just such an inspiring moment, and it's like that type of thing. And I don't know that this is like kind of stuff that I want to kind of get into. Is like, did you expect it to have that kind of impact from the beginning? I mean, I know that, and I know that you watched some of the footage, and I don't know how much of, because I know that the documentary is pretty long, but there's a part in there where I'm like working by myself and I like stop what I'm doing and I look at the camera and I'm like, this is fucking legendary. And I just like kind of like lost my shit for a second. And it's like, yeah, I felt it, but I never would have imagined it going the way it did. And that's why I was like, bro, I gotta fucking give you literally mad props. Like the amount of work that went into that and the amount, and like I said, bro, you didn't have to do that. That was as much as it benefited yourself, dude, that benefited 13 other people. Like, bro, you made a lot of artists money that they would have never seen before. And it's not about the money. I know that that's not the biggest thing here, but a lot of that is it's a game-changing thing for a lot of people to experience. And I'm just curious, like, did you have that in mind when it started? Did you think that it was going to be as successful as it was?
No, I definitely didn't. I think it definitely shocked me how much kind of support came out and I mean like the project cumulatively made just over 10 ETH, which is insane. Really my goal, let's say once we got the wheels turning, first the goal was like let's make music, like and just like can we get to the other end of this 2 weeks and actually have good art? And I feel very like sort of lucky and also almost a bit like nervous moving forward in that not nervous, like I don't want to say that, but it was sort of like we didn't run into the problem of like one of the songs just being shitty. Like there were just like good
Yeah.
songs. Like I find
Very
all
true.
three songs very good quality. So that just like was a big win. And then once that happened, and then we sort of switched gears into release mode, my thinking was like I was just of the mind at that point where I was like, if we could do, reserve bids or like I was kind of playing around with all that, but it was sort of like if we can walk away where each of these songs gets 1 ETH each, that would be a big win because each song, with everyone, all the splits ended up being, the musicians, the visual artists, and the two project operatives or strategists that were helping me, who were also artists who just like took on the role of helping with the actual logistics of the project. They were all involved on the split, so it was actually 8 split. Not perfectly evenly. It was like heavier weighted in the musicians and da da da. But there were 8 different sort of wallets getting a share of each song. So with those numbers, I was like, if we could get 1 ETH total for each song, that would be amazing. And then we decided to go with that as like the reserve bid, and it's sort of like, okay, if we could just get people like 3 distinct people or the same person to click those reserve bid buttons, this has been a huge success.
Yeah.
And when that happened in the first 60 seconds, and I was trying to like elicit some interest from people who I thought might bid on it, but I really had no idea going in. I had some knowledge of maybe like I knew that one person was going to maybe bid on one of them, But I definitely wasn't feeling confident that like all three of them were going to get bids. And when they all got bids in the first 60 seconds, I was just ecstatic. As you could hear on the recording you have, I'm like screaming. But just the like you said, like the fact that that happened for all these people, and just to hear the reaction from people, especially who are super new to this space, who are coming more from like the music industry, quote unquote, who are producers doing, trying to get syncs and trying to do this, trying to do that, and it's like kind of doing that grind for them to taste this for the first time and be on that call, and the bidders were actually on the call, so like we were all together. It was this very kind of community moment. That was powerful. And then for it to just like grow from there, where, I mean, our song Antidote went for 7.33 ETH, which is just insane.
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 Yeah,
And
it
it
is
really
insane.
just showed like, because I know, like you say, like it's not all about the money, and it isn't. But I think someone in our group, in the first camp, Samsonite, who is very involved in sort of, crypto voxels, FWB, leaving records. He's very involved in tokens and things like that. Like he keeps bringing us back when we go that direction of like, oh, it's not about the money. It's like, yeah, but like part of the story is the money, because part of the story is artists realizing their true value,
Yes.
according to
Mhm.
what a few people who have the means to are able to, to stake that value. And really with our song, it ended up being just two people who had the ETH necessary, who really believed in the project and the
Mhm.
song, to end up bringing it to a bidding war that brought it up above 7 ETH. Like that was just beyond any sort of like expectation that I could have ever imagined.
Dude, absolutely. I was actually gonna bring this up. And I mean, like, there's really probably no one answer for this, but that was the thing that, looking back, because it's so funny. Like, I mean, once again, I know we keep talking about this exclusive content that like nobody knows what we're talking about, but it's just something to reference because I know that both of us kind of just like peeped it. But there's a moment where I'm listening at the beginning, that first call where all the bids were met. I didn't know there was a reserve. I didn't know exactly what it was. I just knew that it was met, and I knew people were like, "Oh, we made money," and I was like, "Fuck, this is crazy." I didn't even know that it went up that high until I got on to that second call the next day. And then when it just kept rising, I was like, what in the fuck's going on? And the thing that I was actually surprised about is that I was shocked that ours was sold for so much more than the other two. And I'm
Yeah.
curious I'm curious what you think kind of might have caused that. I mean, just from your perspective, because I know we talked about this last week, and I mean, I don't know if we really. I mean, there's really no one answer for this, but I'm just curious your perspective on maybe if you have any thoughts on what might have just caused that, like what the imbalance almost.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it really was like, yeah, I was surprised too. And I think even going into the release, and I'm just going to drop also, because since we're referencing the songs a bunch, I'll drop it in here, like the link to all three songs. But I really through the end of the camp and we were receiving the art, like I was really blown away really all three of the songs, and they all have their own home, like kind of ours being in this like poppy, hip hoppy world of very eclectic sounds, like very kind of catchy melodies, and then the Hold on Hope song being very kind of Bon Iver folky, and then the Static Twist being this like cinematic electronic song. Like I was really blown away by Static Twist early on, and I thought that would maybe be the most sought after. But it ended up being ours. Some people asked me that same question, and they were sort of speculating, like, do you think it was because of the song, or do you think because of like the overarching Songcamp project and people believing in that, and referencing me, like you being the kind of lead instigator of the project, like, do you think that's why it accumulated the most attention and bids? And like, I don't really know the answer. It could be a mix of like people believing in the song
Right.
and or people believing in the project. But that being said, like, when people started hearing these songs, the two bidders, who was like Brett, Web3 Brett, and Alex Phelps, they both really gravitated to Antidote. Like they just love the song. They're like, this is a fucking banger. I want this song. So I think it really literally like the skewed sort of like realized value, I think really just comes down to like a few people and their mindsets. Like because two people who have the bags for it and who just like resonated with this song both went for it. You know, I think if like one of them really enjoyed Antidote and one of them really enjoyed Static Twist as much, like it wouldn't have reached anywhere near that because it wouldn't have had that sort of back and forth thing. But I think it was just because them two just really wanted Antidote, like they really, really wanted it,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
that just proved in what happened.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it probably is as simple as just that they wanted the antidote. But I think we speculated last week as well, is like, you know, you being on that squad, not to degrade the rest of Rainbow Punch here, but it's just like I did feel like, you know, that had to have been part of it. And then, I mean, that's a great thing. Like I said, it's very deserved. Like, not to keep hyping up the fact that like it was, and I think an impressive, well done experiment. I really like will continually say that. I think it's incredible. And like we actually, and I don't know if you know this, but Connie and I actually started a show in this smart TokenSmart Discord as well called Bullish or Bearish, and we did Songcamp. And one of the things I even mentioned, we brought up Songcamp and were we bullish or were we bearish on the idea, and my basic thought on it was like, look, whether we like the songs or anything else, I'm bullish on basically Matthew running this shit to the fucking top. Like that's basically where I'm coming from with the whole situation at this point, because it's pretty undeniable that I feel like that situation would have never played out the way it did if it wasn't for your ability to kind of manage all that and make it happen. And I know like how busy you were in that process as well, because I know that even when we were working on the song, you were like, hey, like, you know, I'm kind of juggling all of this shit. So I think that has to play a little bit into it. But I mean, a part of me also does want to just believe that like our song just slapped. But like that, the second song, Hold On Hope, I think was a steal. And this is also something else that I thought about, is that ours going for that amount, and those other two going for basically a seventh of the price. To me, that basically makes those other two tracks the greatest investment possible, because those tracks, you know, in a resale value, just comparatively speaking, you're definitely gonna be able to probably sell it for more in the future. I mean, depending on, you know, how this market plays out in the future, but yeah, it's super.
I think it's also worth mentioning, definitely worth mentioning, and something that maybe hasn't been spoken about yet, and we haven't really spoken about, not to like not make it public, but just like, I don't know, it feels like a small detail, but yet it's a big one, which is at the end of this, if you remember at the countdown, like as we were nearing the like last 15-minute mark, where, you know, any bids under 50 minutes would shoot it back up to 15, but it was kind of nearing the end of the auctions for all of them. The servers that Mira runs on had some sort of problem where certain people who were in our Discord and certain people who were actually bidding couldn't load the auction. And there was like a problem where people couldn't get their bids in. And we almost faced that problem with Antidote, where Web3 Brett wanted to make another bid, which was the one that ended up bringing it over 7. And for a while, for like a good 10 minutes, he couldn't load the site. And he ended up loading it with, let's say, 8 minutes left. With both Hold On Hope and Static Twist, they both had bids coming in that failed to go through because of that problem.
Oh,
So those could have easily, who knows what would have happened if those bids came through, because both those people, obviously they didn't get their bids through. They didn't, and they didn't get to, like, you know, be responded to, whoever's bid they were taking over. But I honestly think if that didn't happen, now that I think about it more, I feel like I haven't given this crazy amounts of thought. I think that would have probably pushed both of those into bidding wars. And I'll tell you why. Like, I think there was also an energy to wanting to hold one of these NFTs. So there's the music side, and there's also, maybe there's the side of like wanting to own the one that I'm most exposed to. But there's also the side of like people actually felt a strong value of like being part of the patron house, which was another thing we released information about during or before the auction, which was, if you collect any of our NFTs, you're part of our patron house, which is a community, a space within the community that we're building that gives you access into the, you know, deeper realms of the community and activities we're going to run into the future. So this was sort of like your way, your exposure. If you are quote unquote bullish on Songcamp, this is the way to do it. And we even saw that play out where Web3 Brett really wanted Rainbow Punch, but he was seeing the activity from Phelps, who also really wanted it, that he ended up bidding on Hold on Hope to like reserve his spot in the patron house. That's what he ended up telling me later.
Oh, wow.
So he really wanted to get in.
Mhm.
And then that's what Phelps did too. Like Phelps saw that he couldn't get Antidote anymore, so he ended up bidding on Static Twist and winning that one. And then right at that last second, we had a new bidder in Colton Brown from FWB. He made a bid on Static Twist, and then Phelps outbid him, and then Colton couldn't get his next bid in on Static Twist, and the auction ended for Static Twist. And then with Hold on Hope, I was actually on mute on the Discord. Another friend of mine, this guy Feinstone, who works in DeFi, Matt Feinstone, he came in and he's like, I'm trying to bid on Hold on Hope, but I can't fucking load the site. And I was like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me.
Wow.
And he fired off a bid and he shot up the gas to try to get it out. And there were like 28 seconds left, and the bid didn't make it. The transaction didn't go through. So if that bid came in, like he was a new person, he had never bid yet. He was a new player in the ring. That could have caused bidding wars to happen on those other two that may have made the auction results look even crazier.
Yeah, that's a lot of good info there. I mean, that's definitely something obviously I didn't know. And actually speaking of the mirror problem, I did in the actual full length one, that part is in there. It's near the very end, but I left it in, and I even put a caption. I said the bidding war got heated. I captioned it something where like the bidding war heats up and mirror kind of goes down. And then I like wrote some caption like Matthew rushes to save the day. Does it work? And then like it plays out. It plays out. But yeah, that's an interesting new piece of info that could have definitely swung it in a way different direction, because I know ours shot up in like the last 20 minutes, so it's definitely possible that they could have easily had the same situation occur for them. But yeah, Mighty, sorry, I keep like I feel like I keep cutting you off, dude. My bad.
No, it's good. I mean, I absolutely love this story in general because it's like when you love the newspaper because there's rock, there's sex, there's drugs. I mean, here we have it all with you. We have no expectation, just building with the community something that is new. You have tech limitation, you have successful, sales side, and that's what interests me the more. You have the successful sound, like you mentioned, because that's not an easy task, to have fully 3 songs that are highly produced, and I've talked about it already that it represents a lot as well to have these highly produced songs. I couldn't choose my favorite because I feel the level of high quality which is involved in each of them, and so I love how it goes, and a lot of things that I didn't know that I'm learning with what you say, which are interesting because the limitations have probably influenced the auction, especially because those can especially play out in the last minute or so. All the details you mentioned about the different settings that made the success, we mentioned pretty much the same, and it was very interesting to see all that play out because there's a lot to distillate, from such an experience, especially in such a short time, because like you said, it was 1 month ago, and so it's like just a flash occurred, and we're like, what happened? And I love that you resumed, everything in that sense, sort of what happened. Let me explain to you this flash, because even us, we don't realize what just happened. And I love the last minute, opportunity to, go on Mirror and have the split. But especially what I see is, what I like to see is that is genuine in the how to build in this community in the metaverse, and because yeah, of course you had expectation, but like I had when I was doing my album project, the only expectation you have is to prove that it works. And so that's what I'm hearing when you said that you expected like 1 ETH for each song, just to prove that it can pay a lot of musicians pretty correctly, and not especially talking with big numbers, but just at least prove that, you know, the split contracts in such an environment of artists that just met and need to trust all them towards each other, and especially towards the organization which is behind and organizing it. And so yeah, a lot of trust is needed, and then yeah, you just have to prove that it works, and that it yeah, pays out the artist involved at least a minimum for their time and implication into the work and everything.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it was like like, yeah, exactly. Like that was sort of what we were trying to hit, and everything else was sort of gravy. And then, you know, in the end, like there were tech issues which we ended up discussing after as a group, and said, you know, on the downside there was sort of value left on the table, but on the upside, it's sort of like what I was saying, like let's, you know, not just solve for this, but let's like make this the best place, you know, that such that those other two were got at a deep discount. And then also like on the Mirror side, on the tech side, Mirror was like incredibly, the team there was like incredibly apologetic about that happening. And you know, they said like from that they realized like they rely too much on that specific server like host or whatever, and they're going to make sure that they have more redundant stuff. Like, you know, so it's sort of like
Yeah,
we
it
we we
helps.
stretched we stretched the tech to a point where now it'll get better for others and for us in the future. So we
Yeah, you
Absolutely.
were
point the
we were
fingers on
really
the
happy.
problem. Yeah, like doing the white, what the white hat does, and that's, yeah, that's the best feeling to. And I think also that's the best rewarded in some way in the music. You know, artists in this space is the one that are able to put fingers on the problem and push beyond. And then I had such moments since 1 year here and there, not big moments, but you know, when you say, hey, I would like to put 50 songs on CryptoVoxels and the limitation is 20, and you get a Twitter back 3 minutes after from the developers that say, okay, I just pushed it to 50 because there's a use case, and you're like, wow,
Right.
okay, it's just
Yeah.
pushed the game, and that's crazy. And so here, yeah, I love to hear these kinds of stories as well, and that's why it's so interesting for me to, they have to be talked about, because it's so complex, and you know, there's a lot of small details, like you say, mechanisms, whether they are social, technical, or musical, or everything. And yeah, we are talking about a very complex, from the traditional world, a very complex monster, you know, to deal with. So yeah, you've done a great job.
Thank
Yeah.
you. And
Oh, go
sorry,
ahead.
go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Mama.
No, I was just going to say, well, two things. One is, yes, it was very interesting. I thought it'd be like way down the line when we had more sort of like experience and leverage as a community to be able to go to these sort of like platforms to interoperate and, like you say, like change the game, like for because there's a use case. But we actually learned that that is not the case. Like it's not even going to take any time. Like that was happening in full blown force with Catalog and Mirror for this first go, which was just amazing to see, and for them to be able to support a release like this. And then I'm also seeing Lindsay, Lindsay with an E, ask some questions. I didn't even see there's this event questions tab.
Yes.
She was
Oh,
asking
Lindsay.
about did they already discuss the basics of any upcoming Songcamp criteria to submit themselves for round two? Was it all music? Yeah. So on that point, like we have been feeling around, like thinking about what we're doing next, and we have a calls on the Songcamp Discord, which I'll also drop here. Where do I drop that here? Here's like the Songcamp Discord, and we have a call there every Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern, and we also are taking submissions for the next camp now, and then in a week's time we're going to close those submissions, and then we're going to start like the 1 to 2 week process of going through those and creating new teams. And our goal is to get a second camp up and running at the beginnings of June. So that's sort of the plan there.
Cool.
And then Lindsay also had another question. Was it all musicians on the split in the group, or additional oversight assisting with the songs project? AKA in each group. I'm not sure I fully understand that question.
I think she's asking is everybody that got a cut basically, are they all creators, or was there a split for, say, like marketing or strategy? Which I already know the answer to this, but I can let you respond. Yeah, she said marketing and strategy.
Oh, okay, yeah. So we had the marketing and strategy teams on there too. Here, let's send an example through.
Shout out Lindsay with an E, by the way. We had a lengthy chat last night. She's definitely CIA. I am not 100% convinced that she's not, but that's okay.
But I think
So
also there's a devil's advocate point in her question, because we had it last week as well, which was the idea of middlemen, taking a cut because the company basically, in bad words, organized it, And I was advocating that if it's legitimate work, then it has to be a cut. It's not just taking a cut for doing nothing and so on. So yeah, that's, I believe, the question as well.
Yeah. So when it comes to like middlemen, I mean, intermediaries like Mir and Catalog and Zora protocol didn't take any cut, which was just amazing. Like that was another amazing part of the experience, which was just like 100% of the auction proceeds went to those involved in the project, which was an incredible thing. That like literally 0% was taken by any sort of quote unquote middlemen. But yeah, the people who were involved on the project side. So if you click that link I dropped there and it says auction by Songcamp, it's you can see an example with the static twist auction, which sold for 1.49 ETH. And then if you kind of expand the bottom there, you see the 8 split recipients. The 2 at the bottom, Quiet Theory and Mark, were involved on the project ops with me. And then next to that is the Songcamp.band, the actual Songcamp like treasury wallet, which took 10% on each song. And that sort of goes to be used for the community, to be used like in what we do next and stuff. I decided not to take an additional project ops sort of fee, even though I was involved with Quiet Theory and Mark on those things, because I was involved in the song and I was getting like 20% off Antidote, which ended up being a nice amount, seeing as it went for so much. And I just didn't feel super comfortable like taking more, and then on Antidote I would be like, because I'm the artist and like the project ops, I would be like, above and beyond everyone else at the camp, which I just didn't love that part of the narrative, which was an interesting lesson for me too, in that like when you put the splits, when you like kind of shove the guts that are usually hidden away in terms of a song splits, when you shove them out into the world and you put them up on the blog post with the actual song auction, it like changes your experience with them. And I feel like it changes. Yeah, exactly. It's transparent, and like it makes you like think about things from that sort of transparent way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point. One question I did have, and I actually have two things that I'm like really curious about, but one in particular is what from your perspective, what do you think the biggest challenging thing was for this whole thing for you? Because there's a lot of things that needed to be decided on, and just straight up like, this is what it is. This is how we're gonna do it. Even deciding 1 ETH as a reserve price, even deciding like how we were gonna do splits, all of that. I mean, that's a lot of decision making. I mean, did you do all of that yourself? How did you make these decisions, and what was like the biggest challenge of managing even just 13 people and just that project? What was like the biggest thing that caused you to have challenge, and like what was a way that you could, how did you kind of make that happen?
Well, I would say like on the logistics side and making those decisions, like, I mean, huge shouts to Quiet Theory and Mark, who have really kind of like since we started the camp, since the day the camp started, and even like a day or two before the camp started, with Mark, and then Quiet Theory kind of got involved on the day the camp started on that side. Like they were really amazing, and they continue to be amazing people to like just bounce these ideas off of and just talk about it. They're both very kind of level headed and smart and just like good to talk to about this stuff. So we've, I think, complemented each other on being able to have those conversations and work through these things. And I tend to talk a lot. I tend to talk a lot and take up a lot of space and throw up these ideas. And they sort of like, I think they both have a little bit different temperaments. They talk too. I'm not just like, you know, I'm not just screaming at them, but just to say like, there's definitely this complementary, I think, energy in those conversations where they're helpful to bringing these things forward. But above and beyond that, it's sort of like, so sort of making these decisions together and then also trying to bring as many of them to the group. But as you experienced, like things kept changing as we figured out mirror and the splits and that sort of decisions were made on the fly. And it was sort of, yeah, it was sort of like throwing deadlines and goalposts out in front of me and then just like running as fast as I can to get shit done to meet them. I think the hardest parts, like the most challenging parts, two come to mind. One was the visual side. I think like we got super lucky and things went just really well with the musicians and like the group dynamics and everyone kind of co-created in a really great way. I think on the visual side, it was a bit more difficult to collaborate in that way. I think we learned a lot on, I learned a lot in terms of like what's needed on the visual side. It is a very different role in that, at least for the type of camp we're running, it was sort of like the task for the musicians is like, cool, you three go make a song, like blank canvas, make whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
But then for the visual artists, it's sort of like you make a cover artwork for that song and make it within the branding that we're developing with Songcamp. So it ends up looking much less like a blank canvas art project and much more like a graphic design freelance job. Like you have clients in the band and sort of Songcamp as a whole. So there's sort of like creative direction needed, and we didn't really necessarily have those roles figured out. So I think that ended up being a bit of a harder part. And then like we ended up getting, I mean, I think incredible cover artwork, and it ended up working out. I ended up wearing that hat of like creative director, and at first we were going to like just make three very distinct pieces, but you know deadlines were coming. We didn't have things finished. Like you know the artwork did take longer than sort of that 2 week mark, and so I kind of just made the decision to be like, okay, we're going to make something that's very sort of templated, and it's the same all three, and we're just going to change simple things. So we just changed the colors, and we changed sort of like the picture in each piece, but we kept the template the same, and that helped get things over the finish line. So that was a part that at one point was challenging because I wasn't sure if we were going to be able to get it done, and I wasn't sure how to also manage sort of the people involved, and was trying to like keep people happy but also you know get shit done and get it good. So that was like a bit of a challenging part. But
Well,
it's to the sorry, go ahead.
all I was gonna say is you know, given that that was the most challenging part, I mean, in a lot of ways, even I'm trying
Yeah,
to.
that's a
It
win.
was, it was I mean, dude, that the visuals were fucking incredible. So
Yeah.
if that was the most challenging part, I think that goes to show anybody that like, hey, if it's challenging, it's probably worth it if you can get through it because the visuals for this project, I think, were possibly I mean, look, it was all strong, it was all really well done, but the visuals, like to me, really just made
Brought it together.
the
Yeah,
Yeah.
sell of it
Yeah.
all so much easier to consume and see it all as one package. And
for
yeah,
sure.
that was incredible. I know there's another question up here from Lindsay. She said, "Did any girls participate on any of these?" Just curious.
Very good question, Lindsay. Because that's something we're focused on right now. Because no, so when I put out like the word on this thing, and we got some people in our first camp calls, and I mean the names, it's kind of easy to tell. Yeah, we got 26 applications when I put out the first sort of like submission form, and 26 of those 26 were male. And in like the kind of spirit of wanting to do something and like get it off the ground, and it's word of mouth, and that word of mouth was sort of like in friends with benefits and crypto spaces and electronic music spaces. It just attracted men, and so we had a fully male cast for this first run. But right from that first day, I mean, like we all jumped into the camp phone, turned on our phones, and I think maybe Mai, you can confirm this, but like the first thing I said was like, okay, we're all men. I think you can see that. So yeah, a big part of like this next camp is like solving that problem, and like, we want to make this the most accessible rabbit hole for musicians and other artists to fall down, and that includes like, diversity and bringing in people from the space that don't all have this exact same sort of gender, but have people from all sorts of backgrounds and cultures and ethnicities and races and genders. And that's something we're very focused on. And happily, we do have applications in this one that are women, that are, we had people of color in this first camp, but more people of color applying now. And we're putting out the word to, people and projects solving for that exact same sort of diversity issue, is sort of like, Her Story DAO and the Mint Fund, and bringing in, eclectic groups of people into the space and showing that there's value here for everyone. I think, that's very much what Songcamp's ethos is about. So we want to make that reflect in this next camp 100%.
Dope. And yeah, just I know that we still have a whole second thing to talk about here, but one final. I mean, Mighty, you can obviously chime in with another thought as well. But one of the last things I was thinking of, and I know we've kind of already teased the idea of it, and I don't want you to give too much away, but given that the first camp has happened, what do you, in the future for this second camp, are there anything in particular that you're definitely going to switch up? Is there something that people can expect to kind of be excited about? Is there something that you're going to do differently? Is it going to kind of go the same way? Like, how are you kind of seeing the future, even just for this next cohort or camp in your mind?
Yeah, well, this started as a songwriting camp, and the name of it is Songcamp, but I don't think it's forever and ever just going to be 2-week songwriting camps. I think really what we're focused on is building a space to experiment at the intersection of music and Web3. So that could look like a lot of things. That being said, I think we did hit an amazing flow off this first one. We went with this experiment and it worked. So there were obviously parts of this that are a good thing to continue on. But that being said, we also want to push that experiment further and run with new hypotheses and see what else we can break, like we did with Mir. So,
yeah,
we're so with the project, kind of the way we distill it down is like we want to collectively fund, create, and distribute art, and we did that this time. We funded this camp through the Unlock NFT. We created art together as a group, and then we distributed it through the Mir auctions. We basically on this next camp want to run something similar as a song camp, but we want to level up each of those 3 pillars. We want to level up the funding a little bit, level up the creation aspect a little bit, level up the distribution aspect a little bit. And when I say level up, what I mean is like, expand its like ambition just a touch and make it a bit different and see what else we can do. So not going to give away too much on like what that looks like yet. A, because don't even have it fully fleshed out yet, and B, we're gonna like put it out as we know more, sort of thing. And also and then to add on to that, like we're also recognizing this other pattern, because this question obviously is a big one. We can talk about this for another hour, which we won't do, but this is sort of looking like a collective on the internet, and some might call that a DAO. And what does a DAO look like today, and what are the organizational structures that this could take on, and what sort of like design can you use in the frameworks of tokenomics and the frameworks of decentralized governance to expand this world? These are things that are on our mind that we're going to patiently build out, but we're also like, because it's a community thing, we want to also be responsive to what we're seeing. And what we're seeing, is this thing worked, let's build on it. What we're also seeing is like, here was a group of people who just went through this experience, came out the other end, and feel this level of like collective community ownership of this thing, and there's an energy to keep going, to keep exploring together. So our goal is to, with this next camp, bring in new people and really, up the diversity, the accessibility of the space, and just bring in more people who make dope art and can play nice together and kind of go through the experience people just went through. But then the people that just went through, like Mai and like the others who just went through this first camp, we're going to also run projects that both kind of like complement the next camp and provide scaffolding for those new people, and just like other stuff that people seem to want to be doing and are excited to explore with. So yeah, it's a big sort of question that I don't think has one answer.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of stuff on the horizon, sort of thing.
But it goes in the direction of my next question, which is in relation to the culture aspect of it. I think we can foresee with this model that someone can just copy and grab the mechanisms and start doing this on a wider scale. And if you push this very far, it would be interesting to dig more into the automatization of the process, and this may involve DAO, that may be a component, but as well as having some sort of platform, a Uniswap for a Songcamp. You just connect. This game.
I fucking love that.
The Fall Guys game. I don't know. It's on PlayStation. Fall Guys, and so it's a game you connect at 60 people in one arena, and you just have 40 winners, and so they do a race, and but it's all automated. So you just click play, you enter in 3 groups of people, random, like a social network, and then it starts processing. In the end, it handles the royalties, and bam, the NFT is created, and you don't need anymore to have to manage the teams and the marketing and everything, because it can be, I believe, automated as like a kind of game, and it will be as well copied in other parts of the world, or people that will do the same Songcamp process at this point. And so if you combine all these things, all this clue we can foresee, it goes in the directions of automatizing the process, of gamification, or you just connect to the platform and have fun. You are sorted with teams, and then you start working. You have 2 weeks, the blockchain and everything do the schedule, and then in the end it automatically splits. You know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, I love all that. And I love what you said. I haven't thought of it like that, but like the Uniswap for Songcamp is such a cool visual. Like, what does that look like? But definitely thinking about that sort of stuff, and also even seeing back to that like sort of responsiveness thing, seeing off of this camp, like there's one individual especially who went through the first camp who's really interested in running their own camp. Like they want to, like fork this idea and kind of curate their own and do that. However, they're very busy and they recognize the amount of work. Like for me, it was more than a full-time job working on this thing. Like they can't do that. So what does it look like to be able to do this, but almost have the turnkey solution to run a camp or something like it without it being like this 80-hour-a-week business?
That's what I mean. Yeah,
really interested in solving that thing, and then that to me is like a very interesting road to scaling it, because I think there's a few different ways where you could do camps where like people self-organize, but I think it's really interesting to like to be able to scale the curators. So like more and more curators come and build their own camps. Seems like an interesting play, but I think both can be solved for, and so let's build that Uniswap.
Yeah, absolutely. What I mean is that the human energy spent, I like your idea that it is worth spending it and focusing it on the curation business rather than the managing aspect that can be automated from what I imagine. So yeah, it's still having the activity, but focused on the high quality content managed out of it, while allowing an open access, sort of open access, gamificated process. Yeah, like simple as Uniswap.
Yeah, I love that so much. Yeah, solving for the curative aspects and then automating everything that can be automated that isn't the art part. That's the
Yeah,
goal.
because it's
That is so
organizing a
so
decentralized Songcamp is kind of just a set of rules. You beyond having to meet in a physical place and manage that energy, the digitalization process is just a set of rules that people have to apply to participate, and set with scheduled and timers and everything connected to the MetaMask of everyone. And so, yeah, in the end, you can just automated the rules that how Soundcamp works. Like you come day one, you upload your visuals or musical part, and then it's just like a scheduled website, sort of, with the MetaMask login. And then in the end, everyone upload this content, and this thing is automated while you focus on the best out of it, and yeah, the marketing, but on a wider scale.
yeah.
That is very interesting. Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud of what this conversation we just had inspired me for the future. But yeah, I love to see it, and you're definitely the man of the situation here. And yeah, it's very impressive. And so yeah, you alongside this project, you prepared new ideas as well, and you are about to release your album. And I thought, because I was reading into it this week, and I was like, damn, already his new idea, he's very inspired. And yeah, so this Thursday, you're about to release a new album with different mechanisms you want to experiment, and especially one where you invite, and I believe there's an echo here from Soundcamp. You invite stakeholders, I mean, people that collect some specific NFTs to help you complete songs in a collaborative way.
Yeah. So yeah, going to be testing out a bunch of different stuff with this drop. So basically, it's funny because you kind of nailed it in saying that. Obviously, I was inspired by this work in Songcamp to do it this way. But actually, what happened was I had this project lined up to release earlier in May, and then ended up putting it on hold a few weeks because Songcamp just took over my life.
Okay.
So I kind of delayed it a few weeks, and then off of the kind of like, successful experiment of Songcamp and all the things I learned through it, I was already going to do some NFTs and some collectibles, but this just kind of opened my mind further and made me want to like push at the edges more with myself with this drop. So I ended up developing out the idea more to kind of like, just reflect, I guess, like all the different ways I want to experiment with things.
Yeah.
And part of it, so what I ended up distilling it down to, I'm dropping also that post that I put out this week that sort of is about the kind of ideas behind it, which is breaking it down into like, so I have this album coming out on Thursday. It has 9 tracks, but only 6 of the tracks are finished. The other 3 are not finished yet, and I basically need the community to help me finish them. And all 3 of them have different sort of mechanics at play to elicit that co-creation. One of those 3 songs is basically a song that's almost finished, but the second verse is empty.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a song that I've had written for a very long time, and I just never had a second verse that I liked for it. And so what the one for that one, basically how it's going to work is that anyone who buys any NFT of mine, be it off this drop or even previous drops, they get an invitation to my closed Discord, which is called Homemade Universe. And inside that Discord, we're going to run a basically contest for someone to win that featured verse. So people can submit vocals, people can submit, electronic or production changes. We're going to release the stems and do kind of like a more instrumental sort of piece for that second verse. And then we're going to like choose a winner, and that person is going to win, be the official feature for the official release of that song, which will then come as an NFT also, as well as like released in a more normal way. So just to back up for a second, like the idea is to do almost like a Web3 meets Web2 release. This music will eventually end up on Spotify and all of the other DSPs, but right now it's almost like it's in production still with the community. So that's sort of the idea for the first one. It's kind of like this contest, and the your access ticket is basically buying any NFT into that contest. Then the other two songs are more in demo stage. They're not as close to being finished. And so we're going to be testing out two different mechanics for those. One of them is a one of one. So these next NFTs I'm discussing are going to be on Rarible. This next one, it's going to be a one of one, and whoever buys that NFT will be the quote unquote creative director alongside me with that song. So you can be a musician who wants to be a part of like the actual art and music side. You could be a visual artist, or maybe don't even have like a craft behind you, but you're just into music and you want to be just like a part of it in the ideation of its completion and of its release. And you're going to be a part of that song. You're going to also own a piece of that master for being that co-collaborator. And that is going to be a one-of-one auction, and it's actually going to be a silent auction. So I'm almost scotch taping my own version of a silent auction on Rarible. You can't actually run a silent auction through their platform, but basically it's just not going to be for sale. It'll be up on Rarible with no sale price and no bidding.
Yeah.
And there'll be a text number. My goal is there to be a text number. Maybe it'll end up being an email. I still have to figure out this like basically after the call. But I think there's going to be a text number, and you're going to be able to text me your bid. And your bid can be in ETH, it could be in USD, it could be in any coin, or it could be a barter. It doesn't even need to be a coin. It could be like anything you want, basically. Maybe you want to give me a verse on one of your songs. Maybe you want to make me a video. Maybe like it could be anything, So it's almost opening up the creativity to the bidders.
Okay.
Following so far? I know I'm throwing a lot at you. This stuff wasn't in the article I posted.
I was gonna say I read the article.
Coming tomorrow. This is coming tomorrow. I'm kind of giving you. This is my first time explaining it out loud to anyone, so or on the internet at least. And then just to say the next one, then you could ask your questions. Hopefully, I'm not ranting too long. The third and last song. Thank you, Lindsay, for your support. Is going to be a one of 100. It's going to be an addition of 100, and they're going to be priced in ETH at basically around like $100 USD in ETH. So that's probably going to look something like 0.018, or I don't really know what it is. But like it's still $100, but it's like in ETH terms, obviously a pretty relatively low price for an NFT. And basically each of those 100 editions comes with your one vote plus point. I want to get this right so I don't fuck it up. 1 second. Yeah, each one comes with one vote plus 0.1% of that master. So basically 100 wallets will own 10% of the master and will be a communal creative director for that third song. So we're going to create a channel that is token gated by that NFT within my Discord Homemade Universe. And those 100 people will be like a community governance system for the same sort of creative direction I was talking about for that other song that will be done by one person. So those are sort of the three co-creative aspects that we're going to be exploring with the three songs. Any questions?
Yeah, I feel it's like you experimenting in the direction of DAO. It almost sound like soft DAO to me, like definitely a way forward, community engagement within the creation and within the economy of a whole project. And I love and me to start to think more and more about scaling the releases into different uh, genres of sorry, having one on one, having 10 editions, and then having 2,000 editions, like the async drop. It was really interesting for me, and that's what I see as well into big celebrity release or drops, where you have different scales targeting different audience, whether the big bags or their direct audience as well. And so, yeah, this kind of model seems to be very interesting to try to scale, find the right mechanic for each person, for each artist to work with. And this on different scale, because like you said with the Songcamp as well, you can suddenly have just two people fighting over your art, and it's enough for your your business side, your earnings as an artist, for living your life and everything. So you doesn't necessarily requires big audience, but if you want to have this kind of mechanism include very very large audience, then it makes sense a lot to scale a release between very special one-on-one, and then add up to it, and then it's even more interesting to make them all interact in the end, like you do. Every holders of these different NFTs can have different roles within the implications and the influence within the project in itself and its mechanics or tokenomics as well.
Yeah, I'm very excited to like just see what happens. I think like really the goal with this one is to just run experiments, see what happens, and also just kind of create the conversation we're having now, which is just like, be able to create the conversation around what drops can look like and what they might look like in the future, and all the different ways they can do. And really what I just explained to you now is sort of like, referencing back that article that I posted, which is like there's the canon, the collectibles, and the copies, the three sort of levels as I see it. And we sort of just discussed the collectibles. So I'm actually going to drop, this is my first time showing this to anyone, for you guys. I just finished making this stuff today. Basically, here's a still image of the 9 sort of collectibles that I'm talking about, to give you kind of like a visual representation of what you're going to see on Rarible.
Cool.
So basically, those first 6 are the finished songs, and those bottom 3 are the ones that are going to be sort of like the unfinished songs. Flavors is the one missing a second verse. Paint is the demo that will be a 1 of 1, and then that third one is called Untitled, and that will be the one that 100 people will co-own, and one of the things we'll be deciding on together is a title for that song. So I'm especially excited for that last one. I think like you said, it's like a soft DAO, and just to explore what is it going to be like. It's going to kind of be honor system. I'm going to write like one NFT per wallet, and like hopefully people adhere to that. But like, what would it look like for 100 people to be like kind of working on this one song's decisions together? And like, who knows who we have in there? People from all different backgrounds and abilities. It might end up being just the craziest experience to put it together with 100 people. That's what I'm really excited for. And then so this collectibles part is sort of that middle ground of trying to solve for like people who want to spend $100 in ETH, all the way up to people who want to spend, let's say 0.1 ETH, or all the way to like the paint one, which will be whatever the fuck you want it to be. It could be a service or a barter or something. So trying to solve for all of them. And then on the either end of the canon and the copies, like the canon is sort of like the 1 of 1 catalog NFTs, and those will be kind of the expensive, quote unquote, relatively expensive stuff. And then the copies
Mhm.
On the other end of the spectrum will actually be the one of infinities, which I'm going to release on my own online shop, which people can buy in USD. And that sort of offers another route for people to sort of experience something like this who aren't in crypto yet, who just like want to like show their support and pay with USD. So sort of trying to solve for like across the whole thing. And then the idea is Homemade Universe is trying to be like a bridge, like a communal bridge to bring people who got into that community through buying the copies for USD. Like eventually, maybe those people get Ethereum wallets, and I could airdrop them, something in the future. So sort of like bringing those people, Web3 and Web2 people, through this release together in one space.
Yeah, I see a question from Space Painter who asks, how do we enter for that third one?
You're talking about the one of 100, like bottom right. I think
Uh,
that's the one you're talking about.
I
In which
think, yeah.
case, yeah, okay, cool. All of these are going to be on Rarible on Thursday, May 20th. The drop will be around 4 or 5 p.m. Eastern, and it'll be an addition of 100 on Rarible. So you'll just buy it there, and it'll be priced at around $100 in ETH. So yeah, let me shoot you my page. Actually, that's a good thought to do.
It's tomorrow, Space Painter. No, Thursday, the 20th.
Thursday,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So it's gonna
Our
happen.
calendars.
May 20th at around 4 p.m.
We must share a calendar, like a meta collective calendar for everyone to put
Totally.
in.
And
Yeah.
while it will be on that Rarible page, like I'm basically similar to the actually Songcamp drop. Like I'm basically gonna have on my mirror page, like chaim.mirror.xyz, I'm gonna have basically like a drop, like a massive just drop article, and within that, everything will live. It'll kind of be the catch-all for everything. So like
Mhm.
the Rarible collectibles part, the catalog canon part, and a link out to the copies. It'll all exist in a mirror article.
Cool. I mean, yeah, I'm really looking forward to this release and actually listen to the songs as well. So, when do you think the last song? Do you have deadlines for the final songs to be finished? Or
Sorry?
do you have deadlines for the last songs to be finished?
That's a very good question. I literally just finished the assets today. So like I need to figure out and like lock in the flow. Sort of going back to what we were talking about with Songcamp, it was like sort of setting
Yeah.
deadlines and then like rushing to meet them. So I sort of still have like a lot to do today and tomorrow to get this out the gate. But yeah, like so yeah, I don't really have like an exact plan yet figured out in terms of like how long will the contest run, and when will we get these other songs out. But the idea will be to like release the final latter three, those last three songs kind of together, and like kind of it'll be like the part two of this release, call it, which is like kind of putting this project out in its entirety, in its final form at one point, and alongside that, then I'll be willing to quote unquote freeze the final project on something like Spotify where I can't change it anymore, right? Once it's there, it's
Hmm.
there the way it is. So that'll come, yeah, once it's done. So yeah, I don't know. I need to figure out. It'll be like a couple weeks. Like I think, I don't see myself going over like a month type thing for this sort of
Hmm.
thing.
Yeah, I see. But yeah, I mean, my initial thought, I was wondering that will it would be working like a unlockable? So will you embed the songs within the NFTs? And so I was asking when the last one was finished. In the case where you wanted to include it into the player, in the on display on your NFT, and I was like, how is it gonna work if the song is not finished and you create the NFTs and
Sorry, I didn't understand. What was the flow you're pointing to?
Sorry, I was talking about embedding the MP3 file within the NFT to be displayed.
Oh yeah. So well for the songs that are unfinished, basically, so any like all these collectibles, they are like a audio visual piece, like these records that I posted, they're spinning, and like the chorus is playing for the songs.
Hmm.
Um, so all those final six, they have the chorus playing, and then Flavors has the chorus playing. So in that sense, this is like it's collectible. And
Hmm.
then Paint is sort of a one of one that only plays like part of the song that I have done. And then the last untitled one doesn't have any audio. It's just like the way it is. And then so those last two will be released as their final form collectibles at the time of like their release.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
is that what you were kind of pointing to?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That was that.
And then in terms of the flow of things, like when you buy an NFT on Rarible, you'll have like unlockable content that will release the album as it is today. So it'll have the six final songs and it'll have the seventh song Flavors as like MP3s without the final verse. So if once you buy an NFT, you could already start sort
Hmm.
of writing your second verse because you have the file you need to record it. And it'll also have instructions for you to join the Homemade Universe Discord. So that's sort of like the flow after you buy any NFT.
Yeah, that's very interesting. So you're kind of opting in the sample in the player of the NFT, not the full song, but just like the chorus. And because I'm these days interested in seeing everyone's favorite way to um, choose, do their choices when it comes to displaying the NFTs and what it means in the mechanisms behind that. And I don't see one or another being better or less good because everyone's thoughts are interesting and can somehow make sense if within the right environment and the right ecosystem. So yeah, I just like to see uh, who is doing what in that sense. So yeah, like you think about putting a sample. That's your uh, vision, kind of.
In the collectibles,
I mean,
meaning like the
on
chorus.
display. Yeah, on display. You know when you look at it on OpenSea, for example.
Yeah. So like I was kind of like so I kind of speak about this a bit in that article, which is like I sort of see the catalog NFTs being like that is the song, like that is the
Hmm.
NFT version of the song,
Yeah.
in its like official one of one way. And then collectibles to me are like these sort of digitally native merch that more directly points to the song than say like a t-shirt does. T-shirt still
Yeah.
has value if you love that band or that song, but like this is like actually has a piece of that song that you love. It's more closer to a collectible version of the song. So that's sort of my like look to it is like everything ends up flowing back to that one of one NFT. So I sort of see it as this one of one NFT, and then the collectibles are one of fives. I don't know if I mentioned that, but like the those finished songs on Rarible, they're going to be one of fives,
Hmm.
and those just contain let's say 30 seconds because each one contains the chorus, and it sort of acts as this like collectible that almost quote unquote its parent is the catalog NFT, if that makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. No, thank you for all your answers and your time. I we are trying to push the thinking as it's unfolding in real time, and that you have so much on the fire right now. And so I believe it's a good moment to capture and point to later in time to see as well the evolution. And yeah, I'm very excited to see how it will go. I don't know if you might have you some thoughts or question about this?
Dude, I've been sitting here just listening in awe. Like, yeah, I mean, honestly, like this is so fire.
Yeah.
Like it's so fire. It's hard to not listen to this and be like, this is exactly how I'm gonna do it. Like how like this is such a this is it has every element of what is being teased around and experimented with
Right
in
now, yeah.
like a very just, I feel like, a very applicable way and a very attractive way to every crowd. I think that it like touches on all of these different things, and not to mention the fact that you just basically ran like the most like genius like collective as well. Like, I mean, bro, like this is fire. I mean, I have a few I have a few questions, but yeah, I mean, I'm just incredibly impressed. I mean, like, dude, you continually like just basically like yeah, you just blow me away, bro. Like, this shit is fire. I mean, I know we have these kinds of conversations between the two of us, but dude, yeah. I mean, even hearing it like now that I get a little bit more into the inside of it all. I mean, dude, it's just genius. I mean, I'm one of the questions that I have is like, with all that's going on, with everything, with all the ideas that you can have, with all of the different ways you could approach this, what were some of the things that helped you make your decisions? What like drove you to like deciding on these three different elements, and how like were you inspired by basically like a problem in the industry or the way that it is now? I mean, I know that you're big on the phrase resonance versus reach, or reach versus resonance, and I really fuck with that. But I'm curious if you have anything that really kind of inspired these decisions to be made.
Yeah.
Like what helped you make these decisions really?
Um, it's a good question. Well, I think, and it kind of touches on some of the stuff you're saying earlier about like, the sort of work that went into the Songcamp, and it really did feel kind of like this convergence of things that brought me here. One of them being, falling into the space and just soaking it all up, but then also kind of picking up the pen and like doing a lot more writing. So I used to do a lot of writing, like when I first graduated school and before I went full on in music and like songwriting. I was working for like kind of like a finance website and working for like digital marketing startups and all these sort of freelance shit. And it was mostly doing writing, like content writing, blog writing, articles.
Hmm.
And then I started that up again like about 3 months ago when I was like really falling into this world and writing for 137 PM and doing all sorts of like NFT kind of posts and all this stuff. And it forced me to like think about this stuff much more because I would write an article every week. And it was just like, and then I also recognized like, okay, having a deadline that incentivizes me because I get paid if I send one every week, I get paid every week. So I was just like trying to knock out an article a week. It got me into this mode of getting that done, and it also got me into this mode of like thinking about this stuff more because I'm writing about it. And I think that really helped me with Songcamp because I was able to like, in a pretty quick way, while doing everything else, write about this stuff, put out articles, which helped get some buzz around Songcamp, but it also helped flush out thoughts. And then I just sort of, because of that, like extended that into this sort of project now with this article. A lot of like what I'm figuring out is really as I go. And a lot of what I figured out in that article was figured out once I just decided to start writing the article. Like,
Hmm.
so much came to me while I was writing the article.
Yeah, you
And I think
crystallize your ideas.
it's all,
Yeah.
and it's also off of the energy of just like noticing what happened when I did just make decisions with Songcamp. Like, making decisions worked out. Like, of course, you can make wrong decisions and like make mistakes, and there were a few that like led to some of the challenges that we ended up overcoming. But I noticed that just making decisions moves things forward, and we're in a space that's like just so ripe for like, slapping paint on the canvas, that any paint is like good paint.
Hmm.
So I sort of now have just like, I guess, kept that going with this being like, and I also have this energy, and I know we've spoken about this a bit on our own calls. My is like, having music and like wanting to put it out, and sort of like getting stuck in this like, I need to send it to Spotify like 6 weeks before to get, whatever. But like there's sort of this energy of being able to do everything myself, like hold all the paintbrushes in this world, that has
Hmm.
allowed me to sort of like unlock this other energy of just doing it, making decisions, doing it fast, saying, fuck it, I'm putting out this thing next Thursday, which is like this Thursday, before having all this figured out. Like, literally, if we spoke
That's
3 days
incredible, bro.
ago, if we spoke 3 days ago, I would have been like, yeah, I'm putting out 7 songs. 6 of them are done,
Hmm.
and one of them isn't. and all I had was like the flavors, and then I added those other two over my thoughts in the last 2 days, and sort of like a big part of that was also wanting the grid of 9. Like I like how 9 looks better
Yeah,
than
facts.
7.
Dude, bro,
Sure.
you're a fucking
And that
savage.
unlocked the 1 of 1 thoughts and the 1 of 100s. You
Yeah.
know, like it all kind of came off.
Your energy is incredible. Yeah. Hodl.
Yeah, And I know you said like, you know, just fuck it, just do it, but like, you know, like, dude, like I don't know if you're just like you're playing humble as fuck, but like, bro, like as much as you could just throw ideas down and just do it. I mean, dude, like these ideas are still so well thought out, and so like they show
early.
that they come as if you're like you've been here forever, and like you just get it so well, and it's so
Right.
it's so inspiring. Like I'm so inspired by what you've done in the past month. Like, and I know I've said this to you a bunch of times, but like, bro, like even just right now, like, dude, I'm just like, I love it. I love what I'm seeing. Like, dude, it's like it's just super super inspiring. And I mean, like, and you're a savage for fucking basically saying like, if 4 days ago you asked me like what I was doing, I really wouldn't know. I just basically said fuck it. And I know, and but you didn't just say fuck it, I'm gonna just do an idea. You came out with an idea that makes like every other idea seem stupid. And so I say that like the best way possible too, because I mean Mighty knows, like me and Mighty's been helping me master like fucking like 40 songs, and I've been just sitting on these things like while I like do other things, like think about, and it's like, you know, you're basically making me feel like, dude, fuck the thinking shit. Like you're out here crushing it, bro, and I just love it. And I'm just like soaking it up, and I'm just like, there's so many great ideas that you're throwing down, and I just think like you're paving the way you're gonna pave the way for a lot of incredible shit to come. And you know, I know that we're out here like
you're
like
definitely
trying to
connecting
do
the dots and picture something that was out there but is here pictured brilliantly.
Yeah, I'm just like incredibly impressed. That's like basically like, and I'm just inspired. I mean, I'm almost like I don't almost even have questions because I feel like you have the answer. Like you like I don't even I'm like I said to you in the chat earlier. I was like, I'm not trying to even dick right here. It's just like, dude, like I'm fucking blown away. Like I'm like, dude, I'm honored as fuck to have been able to work with you this far, because I see very, very big things coming from your mind and what you apply yourself to, and not only this space, but pretty much whatever you want. And I'm just honored that we know each other and that we have a mutual respect. So I think that, yeah, I mean, I'm just basically taking up the MightyMai show to just like basically be like, dude, I fuck with you heavy. Like, it's fire.
Oh man, well, I mean, what amazing and kind words, and I really appreciate it, and I also appreciate you guys like giving me the space to talk about this stuff, because like I said, I haven't put out like a lot of like the full on details, like I was just saying, for the release, even on paper yet, because like they've been in sort of my head, and like I'm gonna put them down tonight/tomorrow morning to get them out the door tomorrow. But yeah, it's great to have a space to be able to talk about it, and your reactions are obviously incredible, and I love your guys' energy. And
It's real time, dude. I'm feeling it. You know, like no better time to express it too. I know sometimes I'd be saying too much, but no, it's just it's super well done. It's super impressive, and I'm like very excited to see it play out. And like I said, like, you know, I mean, like you're inspiring me, and if you're inspiring, you know, me, I know that you're going to be inspiring many other artists. And I think, you know, whether it's immensely successful or not, I think that the thing that's important here is that you are a doer. I said this once again. I know we had these private conversations, but it's the same thing. It's like you're a doer in the sense that that's what this space needs more than absolutely anything. Is we need less pondering, we need less ideas, we need straight up execution, because once they're done and once they're executed, you can look back and say what went well, what didn't go well, and that's going to push this space forward, and it's going to bring more people here, because not only is it going to answer questions that we might not have had the answer to, like does this work, does this not work, but what does work, it's going to inspire artists who are on the outside questioning this space it's going to be, you are going to draw those people in because you're going to have this roadmap for them to be able to kind of gauge like how they can utilize their ideas in this space and be successful. And once again, the whole point of this space is to remove ourselves from this old world. Whether we look at it pessimistically or not, I mean, I think that the end goal here is to change. I mean, like not to make it sound bigger than it is, but to basically change this whole game, this whole industry. And people like you are the people that are straight up doing it. And like I said, I'm fucking honored to be a part of anything that you're doing right now. So and I definitely have my eye on that fucking verse, no doubt. I don't know if it's my
Dude.
style. I'm thinking about it heavy.
Yeah, like I have my eye on a Songcamp run. I couldn't attend to the first one, experimenting my own thing at the time, but I would be definitely interested to try out this experience to make music with people online. I had a few through Twitter, but here it's more, organized way, and everyone knows that why we're here for. And but yeah, I agree definitely with what Mike just said, and I'm honored as well that we know each other, that we create this energy, this group, this gang, and everything. And I know we all work hard to stay at the very cutting edge of what's happening today, and you're definitely the best example of it amongst other great things happening right now. But it definitely worth the time and everything to explain it in all great details. And as I believe as well that it will inspire a lot of people, and us, including us in the first place, as first witnesses of what's happening here. So, and as we understand the space and understand all the implications and the traditional music industry as well on a very deep level. So yeah, it means a lot. And yeah, you definitely gotta huddle to this energy, and it can be it can be like take care of yourself, because it's addictive, and your mind can quickly burn in here. So you gotta preserve yourself for the best, and yeah, all the best. That's as well what I wish you.
Thank you. And I appreciate everything you just said. Would love to have you at Songcamp. Please come through. And you're pre-Genesis Songcamp, because the first ever camp call we had, 4 people showed up. One was my brother, one was my brother's roommate, and one was you, and one was me. And that was our first call. So you were there from the start, and I appreciate you being there. And yeah, you got to come through a camp, this next one, if you can. And yeah, again, guys, thank you for giving me the space to talk about this stuff. I'm excited to keep kind of just building with you. We're changing the game in real time, and yeah, I'm very appreciative of this space and landing, where I have when I first started falling down the rabbit hole, kind of at the turn of the year, and meeting you guys. I really owe a lot to that. And I will share also that I'll share with you guys in terms of talks. Like, I'm going to be jumping on a Clubhouse tomorrow to talk about this stuff more, with some more musicians playing in the space, and Studio Nouveau is going to be there, and Rare
Yeah,
Skrilla is coming through.
Yeah, I saw this big talk happening tomorrow. Definitely a place to be. It makes me angry that Clubhouse is still not on Android, so I can't enjoy being
I
there.
know.
But yeah, that lineup is absolutely crazy, and I would love that someone can secretly record.
Yeah, we'll record it.
But yeah,
Sure.
definitely meet there. And yeah, I watched as well your appearance with Cooper and Verity on the video where you explained as well your current experimentations, and I loved everything I learned here as well. So yeah, and a last thing that is a bridge to other topics that we wanted that I found this week interesting to talk about, but more generally within the music. And you're welcome to give your advice, but this one may concern you. I don't know if you've seen it, but there was today a tweet about Instagram launching their NFT platform and reaching out to the metaverse artists to teach them how they have to do it. And so the artist that has been reached was kind of raged, very angry that they try to kind of steal the essence of the culture being created here, and so so it, to me, it resonated with what you wrote in the article about the rich versus the sorry, I don't have the other word, but
resonance.
Yeah, resonance versus rich, and so it was very interesting to see this situation going on today.
I didn't even hear about this. This is crazy, actually.
Yeah.
So you're saying that Instagram's launching?
Yeah, I just put it on the screen. Instagram is building an NFT platform right now, and they are reaching out to upcoming artists in the NFT space to help them build it. The catch, they are reaching out to artists in our community to give them insights on what the NFT community needs and disguising.
Wow.
So disguising the high-level business consulting that they are asking us to do as a panel meant to help build a better platform for creators where we can ask the product team questions about Instagram's best practice for creators. The other catch, they wanted us to sign a one-signed NDA with an honorarium of $1,000 while we sit in a room with upper-level management and the dev team to build product. Weird. Sounds like a platform that's behind and looking to use the leverage they'd had over the last 10 years to pretend like they care about creative communities, while simultaneously devaluing the insight that we have as successful NFT artists that they couldn't get elsewhere. I'm supposed to help y'all build your new NFT platform for a band, and then I can't even talk about the fact that I helped build your stank ass platform. So I'm not. He's continuing, but I answered one of the comments here. There's a lot of trend around this tweet. It's being liked and it's circulating a lot, actually, I believe. And but to me, there were an excellent signal that the Silicon Valley is looking for the very core essence of what's happening in the crypto art community, and they don't have it. It's here, but the smartest minds are on our side, and they are craving for it.
Dude, yeah, wow. I mean, there's a lot to say about this. I mean, this is something that we have kind of talked about since the beginning of the MightyMai show. One thing that I've kind of always kind of semi-feared, and I've expressed this fear to a lot of people in a lot of different ways, and that's basically that as much as we build here and we're the ones kind of running away from this industry, that industry knows we are running away from it, and any moment they can basically decide to do exactly what they're doing. And seeing all of the info that's already out, like I didn't know about this. I really wasn't scrolling that much through Twitter today, but that is seeing the fact that they're doing NDAs. I mean, dude, this is so slimy to me, but this is so expected though. Like this is exactly what I anticipated, is that the industry, so to speak, these labels or big corporations are just simply going to come in, they're going to find their way to get their leverage, and then they're going to completely change everything that we've already built. But I mean, look, we can't be like completely pessimistic about it, but this is this is something that we had to have been prepared for. I mean, it's not something like I said, I think I've literally said this almost every episode since we started, and that's that eventually these big platforms are going to come in and they're going to try and fuck up everything that we have built on good principles, whereas they're just going to take that same concept, flip it, take their 50% again, and people are going to buy into it because the majority of people who aren't here are on Instagram or are already bought into these corporations, this industry, and they won't even see the difference. That's what I meant. Like how we found the NFT space, how Matthew, how Mighty, how we all found this NFT space, pretty much everyone in here, how we found this space was a means of escape from that other world, whether for good reasons or bad reasons. It doesn't really
Absolutely.
matter. We found it as a means of freedom to find our real value as creators. And the masses, when they get here, they are not going to be brought here with that same mentality. They're going to be brought here by an Instagram. They're going to be brought here by a fucking like a Walmart. And by the time those things start to happen, it's going to completely change the way that we look at these digital assets. And they're going to change the space overnight, basically by the way that they set it up, because the majority of people will most likely use it in their manner, not in our manner. That's why a lot of people say, "Oh, it's a bubble, this, that, and the other." I mean, half the things are, half the things aren't. But this is what's going to change the space. Is somebody like Instagram coming in, and I think it's up to the only thing I could say is to defend here is like, look, we got to stay strong. Like, I bet that bag is fat. I bet Instagram's offering some solid money for these artists and these creators to give out valuable information. I mean, they're having them sign NDAs. I mean, that's a fucking red flag.
Yeah.
Like if you're and the thing is if you're signing an NDA, you can't even fucking say that you did it. So it's sketchy on every front, and they know what they're doing and they know why they're doing it. Like, and so it's slimy from head to toe. And I don't really know. I mean, there's really no solution here. I'm just kind of ranting about it. I just basically find it not super surprising, but it's like disappointing at the same time that well, and I mean, we don't know how this plays out yet, of course, but I'm hoping that our space can stay strong and kind of almost be resistant to that concept and say, look, like we're not gonna help you, you know, let them figure it out themselves. Let them do their own thing. But like I said, I'm sure that bag's fat, and I'm sure people are enticed by money. The same reason why we came here is because we're enticed by the fact that we can capture our real value. The second Instagram takes 2 years to buy up all these artists and get their info. Next thing you know, 3 years later, everything's different and they're in control again. So it's a scary, pessimistic way to look at it, but it's a very realistic way to look at it, is in the sense that they're not going to give up. They're not going to we're not going to all of a sudden win all the power back by the time that this becomes mainstream. So yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm kind of just ranting here. I'm not really adding anything or taking anything away, but
No,
I mean,
it's very good thought. Do you have some math when it comes to your understanding and your theory around the resonance and the reach?
I haven't given it so much thought yet. I did see that post and like, yeah, I kind of had like a similar knee-jerk reaction to it. Well, kind of in line with what Mai was just saying, which is like the second I saw it, I was like, oh shit, internet. Oh shit, Instagram's coming. Like, just like fuck, like, you know, we were here first, you know, that sort of thing. But like, yeah, I don't really know how it plays out, but I know that this world is going to eat everything. So it's only a matter of time before everyone shows up. You know, the thing that comes to mind is I had a call last week with a guy who's sort of like in the music industry. He's like older. He was a musician back in the day. Now he kind of works in like the sync and publishing and LA vibe. And he's like older guy, like hasn't really dove into NFTs so much, but is hearing about it from the periphery and wants to like get involved and has all these ambitions and ideas. And a lot of them sound like, you know, porting the old model onto the new, right? Like just taking the label, taking this, taking that, bringing it over, you know, buying up a ton of NFTs, giving artists a small percentage and buying up quantity and making a business out of that. And it's like all these fucking like old ideas. And like we've built a culture that around this tech that counters those ideas, and that's what makes it exciting. And so that's naturally going to happen. And the thing that comes to my mind is like, okay, like here's an opportunity for me to work with this guy or have calls with this guy to sort of nudge him in better directions towards, you know, towards the residents, like towards what this space can actually solve, rather than just taking the carriage and getting off the horse and putting an engine, you know, but like actually building cars type shit. But I don't think that can happen everywhere. Like, because everything is going to come here or this is going to go into everything, whichever way you look at it, like labels are going to come, the industry's going to come, music's going to come, social media is going to come. So I think onboarding people and educating them and bringing them into like the values and ethics that are behind some of what we're doing can go far, but it can only go so far, I think, because it's just too big. That I think at the end of the day, and this is like my idealist point of view talking, is like my hope is that some of the values that are the bedrock of this world actually also provide and like value to the end users on both ends of the experience. That like we don't need to like, it sort of like goes into tokenomics and like incentive design, right? Like if we need to rely on the ethics, like we're fucked, I think. Like we need to be able to rely on the
100%.
end value of the thing. And so I'm getting a bit vague and maybe esoteric with it, but like that's where I think about it, where it's like, how is it such that if Instagram goes about this in a shitty way, it won't work?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I agree with that for sure. But yeah, and I also think you also said something that I think is 100% true. It's like at the end of the day, Instagram will find their way here, Facebook will find their way here. They all will, and there's no stopping it. But yes, if we're relying solely on basically humans to be morally correct in this situation and not basically be like, if we're expecting Instagram to not like, Instagram right now is basically taking everyone's content for free, taking all of your data and then selling it to everybody. So for us to sit here and think that Instagram's going to handle this morally is fucking absurd. I mean, it's literally absurd.
Yeah.
So
you
so
know,
I mean, like,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I mean, it's not trying to be pessimistic, but there's no like, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to like put a positive spin on that, but in some respects though, to Matthew's point is like, if we know for a fact, and like I said, I know we've said this many times on the show, if we know 100% that this is going to happen, we just need to build our moat, and not even necessarily for the defense and to be like ridiculous about it, but we just need to figure out a way to retain our community and to retain what we have built in the best way possible, because they're going to attack, they're going to try their best to take what we have, the best parts of the culture, so that they can utilize it for themselves. And I think in the long run there will be like obviously a compromise on both ends. Like, you know, maybe it's not typical that you sell 30 grand on a song, but you know, once again, even $1,000 on a song is more than anybody's really seeing on streaming nowadays if you're an independent artist with no label backing or anything. So I mean, we also got to keep in mind that like we're incredibly fucking lucky to be here right now and to be able to benefit from the being early. So there's a lot of positives that we're experiencing that we kind of are almost semi becoming entitled to, where it's like, oh, Instagram's going to come in and fuck it all up and blah, 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 blah. But once again, like, you can't get rid of NFTs at this point. And once you taste the value of what these can bring artists and creators from an independent standpoint, they're never going to go back. So there is no doubt that Instagram, Facebook, and all these things will, if they want to work super well long term, they're going to have to kind of accommodate to us more than we're going to accommodate to them. But if we accommodate to them at all, they're going to find a way to kind of dog us. I mean, and you know, Matthew, you said something about educating them, and it's like there's a double-edged sword with that, because when you educate someone, you know, that doesn't mean that they're going to use the information for good. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's kind of like that's tricky. For me, it's like, look, if I go to a label exec that, you know, wants to know as much as I can give them,
especially based on the reputation.
Yeah, especially ones with bad reputation, like we just said, like Instagram's robbing you of all your data and your content for free, and you're addicted to the likes, and you're mad because that girl that broke up with you, it didn't like your post. So I mean, like, that's the thing that they got you on. They got you on pride and ego, and they know that. Whereas this game doesn't. Where we're building, we don't play it like that. It's completely different. It's a totally different metric system built on a whole different principles. And maybe sure, like, everything can play into that thing, but yeah, I mean, like, who's to say when I go and educate Instagram about how it should be, now they know exactly how to manipulate you. Now they know exactly what not to say. Now they know exactly how to frame it so that you think it's benefiting you, but they still own the leverage. Like, there's a million things that they could do to basically figure this out and get away with it. And I think in a lot of ways, there's no way to stop that. So I think like the best thing we can do is retain our strength as best we can and just build our moat and whatever that means. I don't really have an answer. I just am kind of just like, hey, like screaming to the group, like, hey, we should be worried about this, but that doesn't mean that it should stop us from doing what we're doing. But we should be aware that Instagrams, Facebooks, all of these people are going to come and they're going to find a way to take what they feel is rightfully theirs. And the sad part about it is the mainstream consumers will follow them before they follow us, because I think once again we have become so entitled to this space slightly. I'm not saying we have, like I said, like, you know, Matthew, I know I never fully said this, but that was my second NFT sale. That was like a life-changing thing for me. Like I don't like, it really was. I mean, like, I'm not like, that really like made me realize like, wow, like this is super real, and like I really can believe 1,000,000,000% like that we put in work here, it's going to benefit us, and that's the thing. So, and when like yeah, but I kind of like lost my train there, but
But
you know, you guys know I be ranting.
You know, to me, the OG way in such situation looks like, you know, to me, the more I think of it, the more I want to go in the direction of the open source platform that gives you, like you told earlier, the Zora protocol that takes 0 fee, the protocols that embeds like help you to have the best practice, but at the same time own 100% of what you just created and just do whatever you feel with it. And so will Instagram will offer me a 100% open source solution to create my NFTs? I don't think so. Not to mention, like Sean Williams tweeted, imagine if they tell you to have their specific Instagram wallets, and then you're using the Facebook coin to whatever 100%. Do the anyway. 100%. And so the OJ way in this situation is, okay, let them learn about the knowledge, and I'm not afraid of giving the ID right now. It's just how the OG will manage the situation, I believe. Just give the advance of, give them the knowledge, but just keep for yourself the very difference that will make the community have, you know, multiple laps ahead of the situation, to the point that whatever you give them, they won't ever be able to win the race because you're too far ahead. And so to me, that's the situation happening today with, in the video games industry, with the Ultra platform, the UOS token, which is about to disrupt, you know, the Steam marketplace with NFTs. But they are working very hard to, you know, have such an advanced technology and making sure that no one knows the recipe and the secret before they release it, so that they are sure that the day they release it, no one will be able to compete or, you know, fill the gap that they just stated. And so, yeah, I believe the OG will be able to collaborate with the, you know, make money this way with the Silicon Valley and so on. But if we want to, you know, gatekeep in our way the culture as well, it would require us to collaborate, but keep the best for yourself, to, you know, keep the distances, and whatever you give them, they won't ever be able to reproduce or go onto your field, in your battleground, and so on.
Yeah, guys, so sorry to cut you off there, but I have to dip out. I have a call in a minute.
No, that's okay. Yeah, thank you for.
This was incredible.
Thank you
to talk about all this stuff with you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much.
Look forward to more amazing conversations with you.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and see you very soon.
See you soon. See you on the internet.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Love it.
Absolutely. This was a great talk.
Yeah, no, very inspiring chat.
Very
and
electric.
sadly we did end on this semi depressing note. Not depressing, but a warning shot. It's a warning shot. And You did say something that I want to touch on, and it's something that I was kind of trying to say when I was explaining like how grateful we really should be in this case. And I do agree with you. We are ahead if this is a race, we're light years ahead of them. But that doesn't mean because of that we need to run even faster, because they're going to be able to speed up. They're going to be able to go much faster than us once they get it, because they're going to have the reach, they're going to have the leverage, they're going to have the community, sadly, because like once again people are just addicted to these platforms and they're using them more than anything else. So you convince your average Instagram user to start using their NFT platform with their coin, with their wallet. That's gonna be hard to catch up to. They're gonna be able to catch up in light speed. So with the fact that we are here early, we're successful here early. It's positive for us, but something like this reminds me that we have to, one, like I said, build that moat, but two, not get so entitled that we don't slow down and that we keep moving forward as fast as we can and really stay ahead of the curve, because for everything that they do, we have to have kind of 2 to 3 like steps ahead of them. And if they're offering a value of 2 to 1, we got to offer a value of 4 to 1. Like that's the only way we're going to stay ahead of them, is to continually be more giving and more value, give a better value exchange than what they're offering currently. So it's
not about a race, but cultivating the genius that they can't materialize.
Right. Lindsay, you missed a big bombshell of a piece of news here. And easy, maybe even bomb Insta posts with getting peeps into healthy spaces. Oh, I cut out. Wait, you guys hear me?
No, it's okay. I hear you.
Oh, okay. Lindsay just tripping. Okay, so maybe even bomb Insta post with getting peeps into healthy spaces. Space Painter says what? I'm curious. What is that? Yeah, so you're basically saying like go onto Instagram as like troops, and we basically round them up now. We basically say, hey, I get it. You're just posting on Instagram. You have no idea what's going on here, but this is what we need to do. We need you to follow us. You need to follow us real quick. Come down this rabbit hole, because Instagram's about to dupe you harder than you've already been duped. But we need to bring you into our world before they try and fuck you over. Yes, poach the cool kids on Insta. Facts. That's not a bad idea, actually. I mean, the only problem with that is you're going to their platform to do it. I mean, it's. I don't know. I mean, dude, I don't really know if there's a solution here. This is why I'm saying, like, we almost just need to fortify our walls. We don't necessarily need to go to enemy territory and say, hey, but that's not a bad idea. I mean, it is. Yeah, like Lindsay's got a good point. Like once it's kind of basically what me and Mighty have been saying here, and even Matthew. Like we just listened to Matthew basically give us two things that he's been working on that are absolutely incredible, and they're forward thinking, they're next level, everything about that. That's what we need to do with everything that we do here. We need to be the example that is going to basically bring people to us, not to Instagram. Instagram's not going to outthink the people who have been here for 7 months, who actually get what this technology can do. Whereas they're just going to basically set up a simple situation that's going to convince all the people that are there right now to basically stay there, as they already know what to do. You know what I mean? So it's hopefully we can just basically keep innovating and keep pushing forward. We can't win against IG in their space unless we plan some crazy shit. Yeah, 100%. We got it. We got to plan some wild shit. We got to make our own Game Boy games. No, I'm just kidding. We are the ones. we are the ones. We are the ones we have been waiting for. That's a big fact. I keep bringing
the aliens, and Space Painter knows what I'm talking about, like the Avengers, and it's an idea that is around since I'm here in the space and that I see, but hasn't really materialized yet. But we see like a Avenger kind of infinite spin-off happening within the metaverse culture amongst the the OGs characters, 3D avatars, and the stories and everything. You can totally outline this in a fictional way and create art and content around a mythic legend that will be built within the community and would probably help as well spread the success of how we, like you said, attract people to the good way of doing this and using the same tools that we know from the bad guys exploiting the sphere. So yeah.
Bad guys, the bad guys.
I'd be a superhero for a long time.
Let's go, Space Painter. That's what we need. We need the energy of Space Painter to come in here, save the day with his robot voice. I mean, who else who you gonna listen to? Robot voice or IG? You're listening to robot voice every time. No, but somebody said something. Learning crypto takes a certain dedication. Do you think they can make people get it? That was legitimate. That's actually like my whole premise as to why IG has the advantage. They know that the average person has zero desire to learn about this shit. Like I said, the people that are here right now found this space because they were desperate to get out of the old one. So we were dedicated enough to basically self-educate. And luckily there's places like TokenSmart. Luckily there are like Discord servers that are in very helpful people on Twitter that are all about basically helping spread the good word. But the problem is the majority of people are not here still, and the masses are just, I mean, look, I'm not trying to be degrading, but like the masses are just they're plebes, dude. They don't care. They don't care. They're asleep, man. They're gonna be led exactly where Instagram tells them to go. And so it's not they're not even gonna need educated. What Instagram's gonna do is they're basically going to make the process of onboarding incredibly they're like, you're not going to be able to tell that it's even crypto based or that it's this base. Like, they're going to figure it out in a way that's going to make them understand how to sell it to their crowd without even having to educate them. And then they're going to reap all of those benefits of making that onboarding process incredibly simple for them. So that's what I think is most frightening, is because, like I said, the majority of people won't come here out of desperation. They're going to come here because Instagram is doing something where they're like, oh, wow, like when I post my selfies in my what I ate today, I can actually make $5 off an NFT. That sounds sick. Like, that's what's going to happen. That's the shit that, I mean, look, maybe I'm like simplifying what they possibly could do, but it's dangerous. It's dangerous. What could happen here?
No, definitely. Definitely. I can agree. I mean, I'm sure they will bring on the table there are a lot of innovation, and that will inspire everyone. But yeah, on the beyond that, I agree. I kind of agree. But yeah, there was another news that was kind of crazy in that range, but I have to find it back. It's just, you remember the guy that bought Elon Musk's first tweet? He got arrested in Iran because of disrupting the financial economy there. So he was at the wrong time, wrong place. Yeah, wrong time at the wrong place. And yeah, it's pretty crazy to see such a news related to people buying content over social networks. You know, if you buy a tweet for $3 million and you're in Iran right now, you may be arrested by the police to be considered, disrupting the financial economy in place in the country. And so you get this on one hand, and on the other hand, you hear that Instagram wants to, create NFT and make a deal about their content creators making money based on NFTs. And it's two extremes on Earth right now, and you don't know what to think of it, of this mess in general. But this comes at the time of the taxes at the same time. So all kind of questions happening. It's very a work in progress, gigantic and chaotic work in progress right now, but it's fascinating in a sense as well.
Yeah. I have that's a really weird, that's a really strange story.
Let me find it back. Yeah, wanted to talk about.
I'm not shocked a cent that Yoel Goldman is banned from an Iranian gold exchange. That doesn't surprise me at all. I literally know nothing about the situation. I'm not surprised in the slightest.
Buyers of Jack Dorsey's Genesis Tweet NFT reportedly detained in Iran. That's the headline. So the Iranian cyber police have reportedly arrested the CEO Estavi, according to the Estavi's Twitter account. And so, yeah, the owner of this account was arrested on charge of disrupting the economic system by order of special court for economic crimes. Official judicial authorities will provide additional information. Yeah, so that's the deal. It was yesterday or today.
Damn, dude, we're getting to a place right now, and I know that we've seen a lot of wild shit in the market the past few days, really. I mean, past week, I guess you can say. And I have a very unpopular, maybe I don't want to say unpopular, but I have an opinion about like the Musk stuff and all this shit that basically goes on fucking Twitter somehow and causes like all this shit to happen.
Yeah.
Whereas I mean, part of me thinks that it's just basically they're using him as like a scapegoat to utilize Elon and his fucking tweets as like a means of basically doing what they were already doing and disrupting the market, and however they're doing it. And so this Iran shit is kind of strange to me because it's once again and I know that there's news about China today. There was all kinds of weird news, and it's making me really curious if basically the governments of the world, the lawmakers of the world, the bad guys are basically seeing what's going on, and they're like, look, we need to stop this as soon as possible. And they're finding their way in. They're finding where they can basically make examples of people right now. And I'm worried that this is going to do more. But who knows? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Hey, listen. I don't know.
Yeah. We're just witnessing all that for the fun of it. But yeah, do you know Akon? Did you know that Akon was building a crypto city, a smart city in Africa? It was like a news from 1 year or two, that he wanted to design basically Wakanda in the middle of, I believe in Senegal. Or Kenya, I don't remember. And he's launching his NFT platform right now.
Akon low key just be making moves and we just don't hear about it. That's a celebrity that's probably doing it's funny how we hear about celebrities when they do something that's like super average or like almost fucking stupid. But I don't know how quality of a project Akon is putting on here, but he's definitely been involved with social tokens and crypto for a very long time. So
yeah.
I'm interested in how where his moral compass is when it comes to all this, because anybody who's got that much power, I mean, I don't want to say Akon's got that much power, but anybody who's got that kind of wealth or that kind of celebrity, there's a certain responsibility that I feel for those types of people to make an example out of how to kind of move forward in the space. So I'm curious on the details on that.
Yeah, about the platform, the NFT platform.
Yeah, that and just the smart city, both of which are very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of a crazy. I mean, here's some pictures of it on the screen, and that's the 3D designs of how he sees his city. But yeah, I mean, he is a fascinating story because he pretty much came out of the blue 2 or 3 years ago about this idea of AkonCity, and the smart city being built on the blockchain and everything. And it sounds like very ambitious in many ways, and there's a lot of great aspects of it, but you can also picture some dystopian aspects of it as a test laboratory for this kind of if you want to go into the control mode, then this can be as well a good field for to experiment it. So you don't know in which direction it will go, and it sounds as well kind of not realistic. I mean, futuristic in many ways. So when he talked about it at the time, it was kind of science fiction, and but now with the technology and everything we made and we witnessed every day, you can see it actually happening way more with what's concrete today. And so yeah, I'm definitely keeping an eye on this story, but I wasn't expecting that he would launch an NFT platform, but that makes sense after all. So yeah, I would be curious. But I also had this reflection all the week, like seeing that much platform popping every week, and in many ways that it kind of get overwhelming. And so yeah, that's why I was saying that the more I think of it, the more I want kind of an open source solution, or even manual minting, or you don't even have to go through a platform, or yeah, you just need your contract and a minter, and then you get rid of all the marketing and everything that goes these days about all these minting platform that pops. It's like spring.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess we'll just see how that plays out in long term. I mean, does he have any like date for? Is there any type of like date on like launch for anything like this?
I'm not sure. No, I don't see it in the article.
And you wonder if Akon would be eventually how far he could get with this could be stopped, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, we've definitely seen this before. Bill Cosby at one point was trying to buy up CNBC and CBS and all kinds of news stations.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, Bill Cosby raped all kinds of women. And listen, I'm not saying he didn't do it. But I would love to get the convo going. I'm just basically saying, like, look, if they want to take you out, they're taking you the fuck out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That's why sometimes I'm wondering about this project, because to organize such a scale, like basically creating a city, that requires some kinds of resources that you don't find in a lot of places. So yeah, definitely keeping an eye on this.
Yeah, wow.
But
Lots of interesting things discussed today. Is there any more interesting news going on?
like small things, like this major music festival, the Exit Festival in Serbia, which is the biggest festival in Europe, that has like 40 stages and a very big list of artists. And there is like David Guetta and DJ Snake, the very international artists or DJs coming there, and they are accepting bitcoins as a ticket. And I was wondering, looking at the current bull run and the fact that it hasn't reached the top yet, and that the festival will be this summer and is on good way to happen, then it's a good way to cash in Bitcoin before it goes to the top. By you just have to you have the same organization, so it's not additional work to open Bitcoin payment for. It's not too much work on top of the basic organization. So you add on, you cash in this summer on the audience, and then you wait for the top of the bull run, and that's a double win operation to compensate 1 year of having no activity. Do you see the strategy I'm pointing to?
Yes, but I'm also reading Easy's comment here, and
I'm sorry, I haven't read.
yeah, I kind of distracted me. I'm sorry. Do you want to?
No, I
explain?
basically saying that a major festival opening Bitcoin tickets this summer is can have the thinking of cashing in before the bull run ends.
Okay.
I mean, it's good. I mean, it's just good timing for such an organization as the event happens this summer, and that the top of the Bitcoin may be more likely like the end of the year or something like this. Then it's a good investment to open the tickets, Bitcoin for tickets right now, as you know how the chart looks, and then you know it's just a good opportunity for them to do this at this very moment.
Right. I do want to comment on this comment I'm reading here, and it's basically Easy said futuristic cities may also be a bit like jails. Every step you take monitored. Blah blah blah. Yeah, basically that is a fear, and actually that is actually something I wasn't even really thinking about. Whereas like they could be promised as like a means of freedom, but really it's a means of complete and utter control.
Yeah,
but
that's what I was saying. Yeah,
we would never know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we would never see that coming.
Question the intentions.
For sure. I mean, like, look, I don't think that there's really any real way to avoid anything like this from really occurring. I think this is all kind of planned anyways in a long-term sort of way. So I don't think it's any coincidence that anything really happens at the time that it happens. We're kind of just being thrown from the ocean, so to speak. But yeah, not to be pessimistic, not to bring the vibes down. We're good, guys. We're still good.
Yeah. Pirate NFT Island. We're gonna build it. That's gonna happen at some point. But yeah. No, beyond that, not much news. A lot of content has been created, a lot of podcasts and talks that I will link in the replay as well. But yeah, great talks from the co-founder of Odious, as well as like I mentioned with Matthew, a great talk. He was invited by Cooper from Odious as well, and with Verity, who is doing great podcasts as well about the psychology of the artist in general and interested in NFTs. So yeah, a lot of content, great content has been generated, a lot of news. I haven't read half of all the tabs I opened this week, and so definitely I'm documenting all that on the map as I go through, and so it kind of creates this massive map right now, where there's really a lot of information in the landscape right now available. So it just requires one to take the time to get into it. But yeah, not much big news. Great examples of programmable music and generative music, like from Sugar Club and Mensch Machine, sort of based on fractional music as well. Great talks from ConGecko, and the volume 3 from this programmable music on Hink and Nunk. We covered the volume 2, and it was really great. It's a HTML NFT where you can program, menus and automations and different players, things happening. And so the volume 3 just released, and it's pretty brilliant as well. I will put the link. And beyond that, not much thing. Grab your POAPs, and I know you might haven't been very familiar with POAPs since we're here on TokenSmart. I don't know if you are more today, but I felt the need to talk about it when it comes to music, just because I was attending a live this week, and there were kind of POAPs, but the guy did it on OpenSea, so he created NFTs, just like flyers to remember the event. And can you guys hear me? No.
Oh yeah, I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm here, sorry.
no. So I wanted to grab one, and the problem was it was $50 in gas. And so I talked about him about POAPs, because that's obviously what he was looking for, and he didn't know about it, so definitely he's gonna get into this solution. But he's organizing every week live music events, and I think really, like we see in TokenSmart, how useful it is to create this memories token for all events that we go through. And just bringing that the importance of it back on the table, just when it comes to music, and record it on the MightyMai show so that people can refer. Go see the POAPs for music live events, and kind of similar technologies as well, but that doesn't require us $50 in gas to just collect the flyers from an event.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, it's funny you bring up the POAPs, because I have pretty much never collected a POAP until I think like like 2 weeks ago, I think. And shout out to I know I'm an idiot. I'm losing out on all my stuff. But luckily Carolina basically sent me has been sending me them in the DM, so that I can basically so I can collect them.
Yeah, and thank you for the POAPs for the MightyMai show throughout all the show since beginning. I love them, and I wanted to thank the Energy for doing them. But you missed a lot of POAPs since early January.
I know.
Thank you,
so dumb.
Carolina.
Especially all the other events that's going on as well. Basically just keep fucking it up. But no, they do look dope. And this POAP today could be really special, honestly, because I feel like we had like Matthew fucking explaining everything that he's got going on, plus the Instagram news. I think this episode could be one of the more legendary ones in the future, where we look back and we're like, wow, we really might have, like, I feel like we touched on a lot of things that are going to play out over the next year. And that's probably the most exciting part about this whole show, is that we're kind of just documenting our own perspectives on the space every single week, while kind of going over the news, and just to see how that plays out over the course of time, and to see how right we were, how wrong we were, and all of that. So so the POAPs, for that exact reason, that's probably what makes the POAP so valuable. So definitely gonna be trying to collect those. I gotta get mine.
I mean, you can look on the screen my collection of POAPs, all that you missed, because I started collected those since basically the New Year's Eve, and since then I have attended a lot of events. My first one was Studio Nouveau's art galleries in Decentraland. That's where I learned about the POAP for the first time, and then the New Year's Eve, and since then I collected like 20 POAPs. And Easy is the king of POAPs. He's got over 100, and I know there are some OGs in the TokenSmart that you can scroll for minutes on the POAPs collection. But I love this concept actually, and I agree on the fact that making it an NFT through Rarible or OpenSea is not maybe the best solution for what the moments and the move, the thought that you want to convey through it means to you and everything. So that's a good solution for it. May be tricky to set up the first time, and once you get it, everything you do an event, that's very easy for you to for your audience to collect them because it works on XDAI, and so you can just let them on the XDAI blockchain, so it doesn't cost you anything. And then one day, the day you want to have them on the ETH blockchain, you mint them as NFT on the ETH blockchain, and you can do this one time and collect your POAPs, and you pay one gas fee or something like this. So that's it, and that's good for this week. Not much.
Yeah. Well, hey, what a wonderful show. Something I was just thinking about. This is maybe something to keep us on our toes, but it's very possible that the CIA / the ops are in here right now. And I'm actually not referring to Lindsay this time. I'm just saying in general, anybody in here could be that Instagram informant. This could be, we could be giving out all the juice right here, right now, during this event, every time we talk, just giving them all the juice. How disappointing would that be? Hey, listen, you can't win them all. You can't win them all, guys. But hey, but the ones that we do win, we celebrate, we chill out, and we do hard drugs to a minimum.
Marty McFly says he's heading to Zuckerberg's house right now. He's on the way, listening to the MightyMai show, you know. And yeah, a crazy idea I saw this week as well was from the co-founder of Audius, which mentioned in this talking from CoinGecko, you know, fancy features from NFT that you can activate on certain specific situations. And he has an example about location-based unlocking NFTs. So, for example, your NFT cannot unlock below, 100 feet up, and so you have to go to the mountain to unlock your NFT because you can only unlock this NFT if you're on top of the mountain, for example.
That's fire.
Or if you're underwater, or I don't know, in a particular city, or I don't know if your temperature is below 36 degree.
This is a no-brainer. I mean, it's like it's like geo hunting, but with NFTs.
Yeah.
Or geocache. Is that what it's called? Geocaching? Yeah, it's fucking genius. That's the type of shit that like small communities could easily get involved
Pokemon
with.
Go NFT. Yeah.
Dude, 100%. I mean, when Pokemon decides to fucking wake up and realize like that there's some maybe they're actually like doing something worthwhile though, you know? I hate when all these big name brands and celebrities come in here and they do some fucking super soft ass drop that's not exciting at all, and they're just basically trying to take money, which is fine, you know? Do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe they are planning something cool. But I love the idea of doing geocaching with NFTs. I think that's genius.
Yeah. Easy, literally talking to the POAP founders right now, sharing an ID where POAPs could take you to an URL. That sounds cool, but isn't it already the case? May be uninformed about that. Because I receive links, but what do you mean exactly?
Marty McFly. Love it. I'm heading to Zuck's house now. You're cracking me up.
I had an app ID for treasure hunting, geocaching, well, where you could have any... Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can combine these two and have fancy features for events and POAPs in general. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Well, wow. What a show. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling I'm hungry as fuck. Let's
Yeah.
somebody tell me what should I get? What should I eat? What should I eat? Should I go with pizza straight up like a fucking idiot, or should I go with Space Painter? I typically like don't eat until like the end of the day, so it's like I got pizza
Yeah.
would be fire. I'd fuck with some pasta right now. I'm not gonna lie. I'd fuck with a fat ass sub. Thai food. That's a
Yeah.
curveball.
Yeah, let's get out of this trance channeling the universe of the music NFT space and our criticism, and yeah, just sharing what we witness and what we love. So
Right.
yeah, that was
And-
definitely great insight in this show.
Absolutely. It's beautiful to be able to share with everybody in here. It's always a good time. I really do enjoy everybody who comes and shares their thoughts in the chat with us. And shout out to Matthew. I know he's not in here anymore, but he really came through and fucking killed it. Gave us all some seriously fire ideas to kind of get inspired by, and you know, that's just that's what we should all be learning from. How is Lindsay level 19? Now she's an op, no doubt. She's a fucking op. Like, somebody tell me she's not an op right now.
Yeah, that's a great level, actually. Shout out. So yeah,
Shout out,
thank you for everyone in the chat. This is always great interaction, and yeah, I truly believe we have such a unique essence out of this show, and I'm definitely still working the hardest I can every week to get to this level, and you're killing it, with your vision. Like, you're definitely a prophet in this space. And yeah, I was surprised as well to hear that it was Matthew's first biggest sale in the NFT space, and his second experiment in the NFT space. And like you, it was the second one as well. And yeah, that's very inspiring to see all this energy happening right now. And yeah, so you're definitely killing it. You two have to hodl on this energy. You two, TokenSmart, have to hodl on this energy. Keep the high level coming, and the Instagram guys will be running way far behind.
Hell yeah. Well, dude, right on, man. Same to you, Mighty. As you know, we've been vibing since day one here. And I definitely can thank you for igniting and matching my energy the whole time. And shout out to the chat for the love. We appreciate it. We're definitely here. We're here for the long haul. We're gonna build that moat when they show up. And when we show up, we're gonna rifle them. No, I'm just kidding.
We're gonna.
Hey, that was nice. That was nice.
Screw. Yep. And I'm gonna close the show with the Space and Painter Cookie ETH Cookie rap again, because full disclosure, he couldn't attend to be here when I played it on the intro.
I'm sorry I missed the beginning.
It's all good. We're gonna play it again here. That's really a hymn for the space to me.
Thanks so much. Much love.
Yeah, you too. Take care, and yeah, I wish everyone a good week. And next week we're gonna have Skrilla to talk about his async drop on the second wave of artists from async music, and you will see we will have a lot to talk about. And this is going to be massive. So make sure we meet next week. And Skrilla, DJ Rare Skrilla, he's definitely a pioneer in the space, and he's running one of the crypto music chat, where a lot of underground activity is happening. And yeah, so we're gonna have a talk next week to talk about his release and everything. Yeah, Rare Skrilla, sorry. Not easy for me to say. But yeah, wishing everyone a good time. Stay safe. And see you next week. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Have a good night. Yeah, that was epic. Go pizza time. Peace, guys.
Yeah. Space Painter in the house. Yo, I speak some rhymes, I tell the truth. I was in a rap band back in my youth. Was just a dancer, I didn't sing. There were no monies, no bling bling. It's been so long, the path so hard, but here I am, now playing the bard. I found my place, here with the fam, the crypto D-gens and all the rare gang, yeah. Back to the roots, yo. All started with David from known origin. He said, come join us, I have a dream to bring the best art to this platform. So I joined NFTs and kept going on. Make a space next super rare and rareable. Being on ETH2, that's quite remarkable. I'm so grateful I found the crypto space, the ultimate frontier with no gender, age or race, yeah. One more, friends. Yo. We're artists and collectors, we all go together. We're here to stay forever and ever. You better believe, listen to what I say. I live crypto art every night, every day. In the metaverse or deep in VR, you'll find me smoking only weed, no cigar. You guys supported me when I was still a rookie. Together to the moon, let's share that ETH Cookie, yeah. Haha, sharing that crypto love. Let's go, fam. Hey, you got the cookies?
Yes, Spaced.
Cool. Ready for departure. Go! This is Spaced Painter, the last survivor of the MightyMai show, signing off.